My name is Jodi Scholes, and I am your instructor for the MBLEX review course. Today, we are talking about client assessment. Yes, client assessment, reassessment, and treatment planning. That is the category on the category of the MBLEX content outline. So just so you know, this cycle, these classes are held in 8-week classes, 8-week blocks. There are 8 categories, technically 7, but anatomy is kind of big. Anatomy, physiology, and kinesiology. That's kind of a big thing. And so we do that in 2 parts. But this class is in an 8-week cycle. And so every 8 weeks, we go back to the top and we start again in reviewing the foundational, fundamental information that you need to pass the MBLEX. And so repeat that 8-week cycle as many times as you want. The class goes in 3 parts. The first part is test taking strategy. Second part is our learning. And then our third part is dissecting questions. Each one of these parts of the class are important to your success in passing the MBLEX, because you need to have a strategy in taking this test. You need to understand the game day prep. We're going to be talking about that today. Game day prep. You need to, of course, have the learning, the foundational learning. And then also, you need to understand how to dissect a question, and sometimes how to dissect a word. Yeah, how to pull it apart so that you can really understand what the question is asking. So, all right, let's get started with our part 1 of class today. So part 1 is understanding your game day strategy. I call game day. We're in the United States, we have American football. And we also have soccer. I worked with soccer. But there's a lot of game day prep, right? All week long, they prep for game day. And it is a mindset. And so you also have a game day. Yeah, your game day is the day you take the MBLEX. And so let's look at that and set you up for success. What time of day are you at your freshest? If you're not a morning person, 8:30 in the morning is not a great time to take your MBLEX. So what time of day? What are you going to be eating? How are you getting there? Are you being driven or are you driving yourself? Have you been to the testing center before? All of these things are part of your game day prep, about being prepared, about controlling what you can control. There's going to be some things that are out of your control, like traffic. But that's okay. We're leaving really early. As a part of your game day prep, you know that you need to be at the testing facility at least 30 minutes early. Yeah, you got to be at that front desk at least 30 minutes early. I suggest you walk in 45 minutes early, because you never know. Can you find the door? Have you been there before? So game day prep, go ahead and drive to the testing center before your testing date. Do a practice run going to your testing center. Why bother? Because I want you to know where to park. I want you to know what door to go in. Recently, a successful test taker snapped a picture of the elevator. She had to use the elevator to go up to the 2nd floor to get to the testing center. Yeah, it's good to know that, because all those things take a little extra time. So and by going through those motions before the day of your test, you can be calm and confident about arriving. So once you log into the Federation of State Massage Therapy Boards, the FSMTB, the Federation. Once you create your account and you pay your money, $265, you get an authorization to test. You then have 4 months to schedule your test date. 4 months. When that authorization to test expires, you got to pay another $265. I know, sorry, stinks. However, at that point, the clock is ticking. And you know what? Think about, what is the date 4 months from now? Is it coming upon summer? Is it coming upon the new year? Is it, what is 4 months from now? Would you like to be a licensed massage therapist 4 months from now? Hell yes. Yes, you would. Yes. And so let's go ahead and put some skin in the game. Go ahead. Put some skin in the game. Juvie, there's a couple people in the waiting room. Just going to take a peek. Thank you for letting them in. Welcome. All right. Here's what we're going to cover today. Ooh, sorry, guys. Here's what we're going to cover today. Just wanted to get me out of the way. 17 questions on your MBLEX are in regards to client assessment. So this is the breakdown of what is on the content outline. So your organization of the massage session, how you organize a session, how you do your client consultation, the health intake, your verbal intake using the health history form. And this is right off of the Federation's content outline, okay? Written data collection, so how you're collecting your data, how to do a visual assessment, we'll cover all of those, a palpation assessment. We're going to dive a little deeper on range of motion today. And then you'll also need to be able to use your clinical reasoning, right? How to figure out if there are any general or local contraindications. All right. Client goal setting, evaluation, all that stuff, SOAP notes. Okay. So here are the things we're going to be looking at today. We're going to talk about the health intake form and the importance of using it. A reminder that with a new client, your intake could be up to 15 minutes. And depending on where you work, in my opinion, those 15 minutes are not part of the session time. If you do a 60-minute massage, that means 60 minutes of table time. However, if you work at one of the franchises, you will be booked every hour on the hour, and they do a 50-minute session time, 50 minutes of table time. So good to know that when you're applying for work. Is it 60 minutes of table time, 50 minutes of table time? How much time do I have for my client intake? Because new clients can take a while. All right. Another part of the client assessment is the visual assessment. We're going to be talking today about analyzing your clients, doing an analysis while they're moving and while they're sedentary. A postural analysis, we'll cover that. We're going to talk about palpation assessment as well as a part of your assessment. And then if there are special tests that your place of work has you do. So if you work at a chiropractic office, they may have you do range of motion testing. If you work at a PT clinic, they may have you learn vital signs. Yeah. So what are some of the special tests that you might learn? Got plenty of people in the waiting room, Juvie. Thanks. So this slide shows you a health intake form. Yes. I'm trying to get us out of the way here. Okay. This is a health intake form. And every one of your clients, for the purposes of the MBLEX, every one of your clients is going to be filling out paperwork. Depending on the state you live in, your paperwork may also include a COVID waiver. In this case, you'll see here on the lower part of the health intake form, it says informed consent. This is usually added right into the health intake. Health history is their informed consent. You are getting written informed consent to do the massage. Now, some therapists, if they are designing their own health intake sheet, there's lots of health intake sheets, by the way, for free on the internet. People have put them up all over, AMTA, ABMP. They all have sample health intake sheets that you can edit when you have personal clients and you have them fill out paperwork. In my health intake sheet, I also put in the 24-hour cancellation policy. It's another option. All right. But everybody fills out a health intake sheet because this is how you assess your client. No paperwork, no assessment. Yeah. So health intake form, everybody fills one out. According to the MBLEX, everybody fills it out. And you review it every time. Every time. They don't have to fill out a new form, but they do have to fill out, or you do have to bring it out or do a few key questions for your regular clients. Now, this is something that has come up on the MBLEX. There are 3 types of questions. 3 types of questions. The 3 types of questions we have are general questions. Those are open-ended. Specific questions that you're asking a specific thing. It has a very specific answer. A yes or a no. It's a closed question. You're directing your client into clarifying. Specific questions are also rebooking questions. Would you like to come in 2 weeks or 4 weeks? I'm giving them only 2 options. So specific. Is your pain worse in the morning or at night? Specific. And then there are pain questions on where do you feel the pain? Pain questions have the word pain in them. Is your pain, do you have pain more in the morning? Now that's a specific question too, but when you dig down, it's actually a pain question. So be very careful if you're asked on the MBLEX, what type of question is this? Is your pain more in the morning? Or do you have pain at morning or night? Excuse me. That would be a pain question as well. When did you first notice the pain? So just be very careful as you assess the questions. Is it general? Is it specific? Or is it pain? Just wanted to remind you that there are 3 types of assessment questions. Oh, I wanted to touch on the types of pain. We've got general pain, and then we've got specific pain. We've got acute and chronic. This is a chart that's about pain. So somatic pain is pain in the body. Referred pain is, oh, I press here and I feel it someplace else. And this psychogenic pain, that's not actually really a word anymore. And I wanted to mention that psychogenic, you won't see that on the MBLEX, but you might see the word psychological. This word is psychological. It is not physiological. Be careful. Be careful. Yes. So psychological reasons for pain. There are psychological reasons for pain? Yes, there are. When someone is under psychological stress, mental stress, it can cause physical pain. Wait, what? Can that happen? Oh yeah. You guys have seen it. You guys have seen it. If you're under mental stress, Does that sometimes turn into a physical headache? Sure does. That's a psychological reason for pain. There's also social influences. You'll see here in the description that psychological reasons for pain can be made worse by social influences. We're looking at bio, psycho, social. The biopsychosocial reasons for pain. Social, what do I mean by that? I mean like losing your job. Your client is going through a divorce. So it could be even called emotional. Social, something's happened in your social circle. We have an emotion about it, and that can make our perception of pain feel worse. You may have heard of something called broken heart syndrome. Have you heard of that? Broken heart syndrome? It's when two people who have been married for a very long time or together for a very long time, they've been partners, say 50 years, and one of those partners passes away. Too often, we see that the other partner, within 6 months, has also passed away. They call it broken heart syndrome. It's now called something called Takotsubo syndrome. I'll put that in the chat later. I'll put it in the chat right now. Takotsubo syndrome. And that is the doctor who is studying it, Takotsubo syndrome. It's this social thing that happens. They lose a partner. There's an emotional component to that. It happened with Johnny Cash, the singer. He lost his wife, June Carter Cash. She passed away. And 4 months later, Johnny Cash was dead. And his friends and his family said they thought he died of a broken heart because he missed his wife. So I introduced this concept to you because it's not just about the biology. We have an opportunity as massage therapists to look at what's happening mentally, what's happening in their social circles, because this can impact their perception of pain. One last thing. You may notice that I've got a book behind me, this book. And this is a book that I wrote. And it's all about the biopsychosocial reasons for pain. It's called The Body Blueprint, How Your Pain May Be Telling a Story. And it's the stories of my clients. In fact, one of the stories in there is about Jim, who I'm going to introduce you to. And Jim has phantom pain. Looky here, just one of those other things right here, phantom pain. It's not on our pain chart. But in my book, I talk about Jim. This is Jim. And Jim is a World War II vet. And he lost the bottom half of his right leg being shot down over Germany. And for all his life, when I met Jim, he was in his 70s. So since he was 20, he had had phantom pain in the bottom of his foot that was not there. And you guys may get the opportunity to work with veterans who have come back from a war. Not a lot of World War II veterans out there anymore. But Jim asked me if massage could somehow help his phantom pain. And you know what? You can read it in the book. I'll cut to the chase and just say, yeah, it did help. Helped him for usually 3 to 5 days. He wouldn't have that phantom pain in the bottom of a foot that is not there. But when you work with someone who's an amputee, someone who's a veteran, there are layers that you will end up exploring. Because body work, yes, it treats the biology, it treats their physical body, their physiology, but it also gives them relief mentally. It lets them leave those problems of having lost a job, having, going through a divorce, having lost a pet, these emotional experiences that your client may be going through. Massage also helps recalibrate their emotional body, their mental body. Yeah. So Jim had phantom pain. And I'll tell you, when I did his client assessment, I was like, oh boy, he wants me to work on his stump. He wants me to work on what remains of his leg. I had never done that before. So sometimes in your client assessment, you're going to get a curveball. Yeah, imagine. And it was so humbling to have his trust. And that's why that treatment room, you'll hear me say, that treatment room is sacred. It's where people become vulnerable. And that's why we learn client assessment, reassessment, treatment planning, so that we can establish an amazing session for an amazing person that shows up on your table. Yeah, part of the client assessment. All right. So we've looked at the health intake sheet. We've talked about how client assessment can take a little while longer. Let's move into understanding visual assessment. So what does that mean, visual assessment? Well, it means that we're going to assess them while they're moving, and we're going to assess them while they're still. So a visual assessment, we gather data through our eyes. Now, we have several people in class. Get this, you guys. We have several people in class who are visually impaired. And did you know in China, when someone is born blind, they are often taught massage therapy because it is said that their senses, their sense of touch, is even more skilled, is even more developed because they're limited eyesight or no eyesight. But one of our tools is a visual assessment. And so depending on your level of visual, here are some things you might end up seeing or might end up assessing. And if you are visually impaired, you can absolutely have someone be a second set of eyes for you. Okie dokie. Time to dissect some questions. What is a gait assessment? A hinged door to enter through a wall, fence, or hedge. B, watch a person walk. C, watch a person walk and observe any abnormalities and document or discuss with the client. D, to watch a person run on a treadmill. Woo, these are good. See how you have to get through all the answers? Yeah. B, C, and D are kind of the same, aren't they? Or are they? All right. In our dissecting of the questions, we use the technique to eliminate one wrong answer. Let's go ahead and eliminate a wrong answer. Boom. We know gait assessment, G-A-I-T, is not a hinge door. That's a G-A-T-E. If you have English as a second language, crazy, crazy, crazy. Those are called homonyms or homophones. Homonyms or homophones. Two words sound alike, but they're not spelled alike and they mean something completely different. Yeah. All right, let me look in the chat and see what we've got. Let me move this. Oh, people are saying I need more information. All right. Okay, good. There's a bunch of different answers. B, C, and D could all be right. You need to get to the best answer. All right. Kadeem nailed it. Ms. V, you read on, didn't you? All right. Greta, good. Patience, yes. Paris, yes. Jessica nailed it. Lily, yes. Maya, yes. Diane, got it. Oh, okay. Best answer. To watch a person walk and observe any abnormalities and document and/or discuss with the client is a gait assessment. Just to watch a person walk? You watch people walk all day. To watch a person run on the treadmill? You do that every time you go to the gym. An assessment. Watch a person walk to observe for any abnormalities and document or discuss with the client and/or discuss both. Document and discuss with the client, maybe. Okay, good. Few people got a little tricky trick. What does SOAP stand for? SOAP. A, subject, object, assess, plan. B, subjective, objective, assessment and protocol. C, subjective, objective, analysis, procedure. D, subjective, objective, assessment, plan for future treatment. Ooh, these are good and tricky today. I love it. Because this is what happens on the MBLEX. All right. Going to take away one wrong answer. It is not letter B. Be like, boy, it is not. Subjective, objective, assessment, and protocol. That is not what it stands for. All right, let's take a look at our answers. Ms. V, yes. Allegra, yes. Jessica, good. Sharita, yep. Maya, you got it. Patience, yes. Good. iPhone 2, yes. Brenda nailed it. Zoom user, good. Kadeem, yep. Yeah, Paris, there you go. Okay. So you got to get through all the answers. Some people just jumped right in and was like, A, yes. Best answer is not A. It's D. It looks a lot alike, right? You've got to get to the best answer. You got to look at all the answers and make sure, yes, letter A is correct, but letter D is the best answer. I know, but we don't get any points for letter A because our job is to find the best answer. Next question. What is the form of a question that will only allow you to answer yes or no? What is the form of the question that will only give you the answer yes or no? I just did another technique there. I read the question twice. Dissecting the question, read it twice. Let's look at all the answers. Letter A, open-ended question. B, true or false question. C, when we ask the client questions about the 1 to 10 pain scale. D, closed-ended questions with a short answer. Now, here's another technique you can use. Let's use our first technique. Let's get rid of one wrong answer, okay? We know letter C is not going to be just yes or no. It's a pain question because we're asking them about the pain scale. And they're only going to give us one answer. Like, no, they might give us a longer answer, but it's a pain question. Okay. The other technique you can use is to take the answer and insert it into the question. So let's practice on letter D. Close-ended questions with a short answer is the form of a question that will only give you the answer yes or no. Woo-hoo! Nice work. Nice work. We did a lot of client assessment today. Congratulations. Woo! I know those questions were a little tough, weren't they? Yeah. I'm going to wrap up the recording, get that processing. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Jodi Scholes. I am your instructor for the MBLEX Review course live. We meet here every week to prepare to calmly and confidently approach the MBLEX with success, to pass the MBLEX. Yes. All right. I'm going to hang out for a few minutes more with our students, with our graduate students, and take some questions, but signing off on the recording for now. See you again real soon.